Trump server mystery produces fresh conflict. Washington. The charge was narrow. John Durham, the special counsel appointed by the Trump administration to scour the Russia investigation, indicted a cybersecurity lawyer this month on a single count of lying to the FBI. But Durham used a 27-page indictment to lay out a far more expansive tale, one in which 4 computer scientists who were not charged in the case exploited their access to internet data to develop an explosive theory about cyberconnections in 2016 between Donald Trump's company and a Kremlin-linked bank, a theory, he insinuated, they did not really believe. Trump supporters seized on the indictment, saying it shows that suspicions about possible covert communications between Russia's Alpha Bank and Trump's company were a deliberate hoax by supporters of Hillary Clinton and portraying it as evidence that the entire Russia investigation was unwarranted. Emails obtained interviews with people familiar with the matter, who spoke on the condition of anonymity to discuss issues being investigated by federal authorities, provide a fuller and more complex account of how a group of cyber experts discovered the odd internet data and developed their hypothesis about what could explain it. At the same time, defense lawyers for the scientists say it is Durham's indictment that is misleading. The findings of the researchers were true then and remain true today. Reports that these findings were innocuous or a hoax are simply wrong, said Jody Westby and Mark Roche, lawyers for David Doggone, a Georgia Institute of Technology data scientist and one of the researchers whom the indictment discussed but did not name. Stephen Tyrrell, a lawyer for Rodney Joffe, an internet entrepreneur and another of the 4 data experts, said his client had a duty to share the information with the FBI and that the indictment gratuitously presents an incomplete and misleading picture of his role. Durham's indictment provided evidence that 2 participants in the matter, Joffe and Michael Sussman, the cybersecurity lawyer accused of falsely saying he had no client when he brought the findings of the researchers to the FBI, interacted with the Clinton campaign as they worked to bring their suspicions to journalists and federal agents. Durham uncovered law firm billing records showing that Sussman, who represented the Democratic National Committee on issues related to Russia's hacking of its servers, had logged his time on the Alpha Bank matter as work for the Clinton campaign. Sussman has denied lying to the FBI about whom he was representing and coming forward with the Alpha Bank data, while saying he was representing only Joffe and not the campaign. Durham also found that Joffe had met with one of Sussman's law firm partners, Mark Elias, who was then the Clinton campaign's general counsel, and researchers from Fusion GPS, an investigative firm Elias had commissioned to scrutinize Trump's purported ties to Russia. Fusion GPS drafted a paper on Alpha Bank's ties to the Kremlin that Sussman also provided to the FBI. 4 days before Sussman met with the FBI about the findings, Elias sent an email to the Clinton campaign manager, Robbie Mook, its communications director, Jennifer Palmieri, and its national security advisor, Jake Sullivan, whose subject line referred to an Alpha Bank article, the indictment said. 6 weeks later, after Slate ran a lengthy article about the Alpha Bank suspicions, the Clinton campaign pounced. The FBI, which had already started its Trump-Russia investigation before it heard about the possible Trump-Alpha connections, quickly dismissed the suspicions, apparently concluding the interactions were probably caused by marketing emails sent by an outside firm using a domain registered to the Trump Organization. Whatever caused the odd data, at issue in the wake of the indictment is whether Joffe and the other 3 computer scientists considered their own theory dubious and yet cynically went forward anyway, as Durham suggests, or whether they truly believed the data was alarming and put forward their hypothesis in good faith. But 3 of their names have appeared among a list of data experts in a lawsuit brought by Alpha Bank, and Trump supporters have speculated online about their identities. In addition, the Alpha Bank suspicions were only half of what the researchers sought to bring to the government's attention, according to several people familiar with the matter. DARPA, the Pentagon's research funding agency, wanted to commission data scientists to develop the use of so-called DNS logs, records of when servers have prepared to communicate with other servers over the internet, as a tool for hacking investigations. Antonakakis and Doggone reached out to Joffe to gain access to Neustar's repository of DNS logs, people familiar with the matter said, and began sifting them. Separately, when the news broke in June 2016 that Russia had hacked the Democratic National Committee's servers, Doggone and Lorenzen began talking at a conference about whether such data might uncover other election-related hacking. She shared her findings with Doggone, the people said, and they both discussed it with Joffe. By early August, the researchers have combined forces and were increasingly focusing on the Alpha Bank data, the people said. Joffe reached out to his lawyer, Sussman, who would take the researchers' data and hypothesis to the FBI on September. The indictment quotes August emails from Lorenzen and Antonakakis worrying that they might not know if someone had faked the DNS data. But people familiar with the matter said the indictment omitted later discussion of reasons to doubt any attempt to spoof the overall pattern could go undetected. The full email provides context. Trump had claimed he had no dealings in Russia, and yet many links appeared to exist, Joffe noted, citing an article that discussed aspirations to build a Trump Tower in Moscow. Tyrrell, his lawyer, said that research in the weeks that followed, omitted by the indictment, had yielded evidence that the specific subsidiary server in apparent contact with Alpha Bank had not been used to send bulk marketing emails. The indictment also quoted from emails in mid-September, when the researchers were discussing a paper on their suspicions that Sussman would soon take to the FBI.